Okay, hi everybody. I just want to mention the group I'll be doing on Saturdays at 10 o'clock is a mixed group. That's the one I'm doing virtually. I'm doing it on Zoom. Okay, the other two groups are in person right here in Starting Point. Okay, we're going to continue the series on relationships. And basically, this series is based around a book that I wrote on relationships. I mentioned that last week, called Relationships, the Gifts of Life. I want to begin by doing a reading today from the Woman's Meditation book, Each Day a New Beginning, one of my favorite readings. Actually, I have four favorite readings in this book. This is one of them. The beauty of loving someone is the feeling of wholeness that I experience, the need for that individual in my life. I'm part of you and you're part of me, feeling that connects two people and makes them necessary to each other. All that is asked of us by our Creator is that we love one another. Where love doesn't flow easily, perhaps we can just decide not to hurt someone. If we each avoided hurting all people just for one day, lives would be transformed. We each see the world with a fresh perspective. The more we love others, any others, the deeper our love will grow for all others. Loving lifts our hearts and lightens our burdens. Every day's tribulations can become triumphs, and we carry love in our hearts. Love fills us up, and the more we share it, the fuller we become. We are connected, each of us to one another, all of us together. Our contributions to the whole are necessary. This completion is made perfect by our presence. As I pass a friend today, I'll be grateful for their contribution to my wholeness too. I want to we talked last week about addictive relationships, and I told you that it was a little bit depressing. So I promised that for the next three talks, I will not be depressing. I want to talk today about how do you develop a healthy relationship with yourself as a person. I've said this so many times in the course of my talks and journey that the ultimate relationship that we have in life is the one that we have with ourselves. And the greatest investment you can make in your life is to work on developing a personal relationship with yourself as a person. I never thought my wildest dreams, my wildest imagination, I'd be actually saying that it's okay for me to fall in love with myself. Sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it? But really, in reality, unless I truly do love me, I really can't love somebody else. Because we speak to other individuals and we speak to people through the energy coming out of us. So many times in life, we don't speak by words. We speak by feelings, we speak by energy. It's a big part of the journey we go through in life. So to develop a healthy sense of myself, we have to work on certain little characteristics and traits, and I'll go through them with you. But I want to use an analogy to bring this out. It's one of my favorite analogies. It's the analogy of taking a stone and dropping it into a pool of water. When the stone hits the water, you'll notice that ringlets form off the stone. The first one is strong and is small. Second, a little wider, a little weaker. As they go out, they get wider, they get weaker and weaker until eventually they kind of move on. I use that analogy because in developing a healthy sense of self, there are components to and one of the things we really have to be able to do, which is really important, is how am I able to finally take a look at something called setting boundaries. And boundaries are very important because they actually look at the concept of where are people on our journey? Where are people in our life? And boundaries teach us how to be able to set them for ourselves as well as for others. And so what I want to do is use that analogy I used to kind of bring it out. The center of the stone itself, you'll notice is strong. There's something solid to it. So if I am truly a healthy person, I'm going to have the following qualities in my life. The first quality is that I am comfortable being me. I love who I am, I accept who I am, and I am comfortable in my own body. There's a whole sense of me being able to realize the fact that this is who I am, and I have my talents and my gifts. I'm able to accept the reality of what I can do and what I can't do. To be truly healthy also means that I have a sense of serenity, a sense of inner peace. I have this calmness in my life, ways in which I'm able to interact and connect with others. To also be a true healthy person, I have a spirit, I have an energy that makes me who I am, which means that I feel like I'm alive. I have my good days and my bad days, but the concept is I'm able to work through things because I'm open. And that's the key to everything. To be open to new things, to new directions, to be open to change and to growth, to realize the fact that I'm never done. I'm always in process of learning, of discovering, of finding new things out. And so I have this energy inside of me that I want to grow. I want to become another person. I want to continue to experience different things in the course of my journey in life. And so the big secret is I also know where people are on my journey and I can interact accordingly. And so those qualities, those spiritual qualities, comes down to the fact that deep down inside, I have to learn how to get to know me, how to love me, how to care for me. If I truly feel those things, I'm in touch with those things, then from there, the other circles will flow. If I'm truly a healthy person, in the second circle around the stone are people in my life called significant others, very special people. With this people, I can totally be myself. With these people, I can let my hair down. I don't have any to let down, but basically I can let my hair down. And the bottom line is, I feel safe, I feel comfortable. But normally in that significant circle, it's never more than maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 people. They're people that are very special, a part of my life. There's a powerful level of trust, of intimacy and closeness with them. So as a result, I feel safe, I feel comfortable, and I feel the gift of unconditional love. The beautiful part about that process is, and this is something that took me a long time to try to understand, that these very special people have to only be a small amount. But notice something, it's never just one. If you only have one special person in your life, you'll burn the sucker out. You'll drive them crazy. You need 2, 3, maybe 4 at the most. So if I'm truly a healthy person, then I'm connected to these individuals. I can do my growing with them, my learning from them. But above all, I feel safe and comfortable with them. In the second circle, a little bit wider, I have a circle of people called friends. Now, as a person in my life, I have different circles of friends and at different times on my journey. As a child, I literally had a circle of friends that maybe I was in grammar school with or went to school with. And, we're normal human beings. We probably said to them, as many of us did, we'll be friends forever and ever and ever and ever. You have no idea where they are right now. The bottom line is it's all normal. So at different stages of your life, your circles of friends change. In recovery, we have different circles of friends also. So literally we find out after a while that we need these circles. They're part of our journey. I mean, I look at my own life, I have a circle of friends I go to the gym with. I won't talk recovery with them. They're part of my life and part of my journey. I have people I am connected with in my community. So I'm understanding the gift of boundaries if I'm healthy because I know where people are and I'm able to interact and connect with them. Even my family, different family, my wife's family, different groups of people that come into your life. And the bottom line is they come in and they may stay and some may move on. And as you go through the journey of life, you may develop new circles of friends to be connected with, which is how it's supposed to be. See, I'm not going to take anybody hostage. And even friends go on their journey. Their lives change, our lives change. But those circles of friends are part of who we are. So if I'm healthy, I have many circles of friends in my life. But I know where they are and I can enjoy them and celebrate them. If I'm healthy also, I also learn the importance of not self-disclosing. I know where people are and what I can say, what I can't say, so I'm able to adjust accordingly. The next circle, a little larger, I have a nickname for this circle. I call them time people. Now, time people are people that come into your life for a short period of time and then they leave. I call them the messengers. These are individuals that come into your life, they carry a message, but they're not going to stay forever. They're going to move on. The messengers can come to us in different sizes, shapes, and forms. I can be watching TV, a talk show, and all of a sudden somebody says something that connects to me. That's a time person. For the few moments today, 45 minutes or so, I'm a time person in your life. And as a result, then you carry a message, you put things out there, and then you have to let people go. And so we have many, many different types of time people. They may come to us in a book. They come to us in people we meet in the course of our journey. We don't meet anybody by accident. Every person we meet in the course of our journey is a teacher. We have to learn to be a pupil, and we're also a pupil and a teacher to them. And that's why time people are so important. But in order for me to really interact with them, I have to have an open mind. I have to be open to learn, be open to grow, to open to new things, and open to new directions. That's why you can't get stale. You need to be able to constantly be in process of learning, in process of growing, of discovering new things in your life. Be open to new ideas and new directions. Not that you have to accept them all. What you're actually doing, though, is you're opening them to all. You're connecting them. It's a big part of the journey. And so we have these people in our life called time people. If you're healthy, we also have in our life in the next circle, and that's a big one. They're called acquaintances. Now we probably have, I don't know, hundreds of acquaintances over the course of our journey, probably 1,000, I don't know. People we say hello to, we say goodbye to. We don't really know them. They don't really know us. But basically, we may see them every day in our life. You may see them on your job. You may see them, in your neighborhood. They're called acquaintances. We spend time with them. We enjoy them. But we do something called small talk with them. We learn where people are. For example, in my blood family, all except for maybe 2 people, my family basically are acquaintances. They don't really know me, especially the ones that are there now, and I know them to a point. But again, I learn when I'm with them just to enjoy them, do small talk, have a cup of coffee. I don't get caught up in everything. I made that mistake plenty of times before I got myself into a better place in my life. I tried talking to them about codependency, recovery, things of this effect, and they thought I was nuts. What can I tell you? But the bottom line is, you have to accept people where they're at. You also learn in acquaintances too. I always tell you, please don't ever. If you walk down the street, your neighbor says hi, don't do a 5th step with the poor person. You'll scare the person to death. They'll be moving out of the neighborhood the next day. There's a time and a place for everything, and acquaintances basically are simply that. And as life goes on, you're going to make more acquaintances. You're going to meet with people, connect with them. They don't know you. You don't really know them. You know them, but you don't know them. I think you understand what I mean. One more circle. This is a nice big one on the outside. I got so excited when I found out I was allowed to have this circle. There are people in our life called enemies, negative persons, places, and things. And it's okay. For a long period of time in my life, I didn't think I was allowed to ever acknowledge this or get in touch with it. I could feel it on the inside. But I realize now there are people that are unhealthy for me to be around. The people in my life that are negative. People in my life I want to spend a lot of time with. I always joke a lot, but one of my neighbors where I live in Holiday City, I do a lot of favors for her because she's older and can't get around a lot. But every time I go spend time with her, by the time I get out of there, I not only do I have a headache, I feel like the world's going to come to an end tomorrow. She's so negative, it's unbelievable. So I limit my time with her. I don't like to be around her a lot. The crazy part about it is when you're around negative people all the time, you start becoming negative. You pick up the patterns in your life. So it's important to realize the fact there are people in our life. That's a boundary I can set, which means I can detach and detach with love. There's an old AA saying, you pray for them, you wish them well, you let them go. But unfortunately, there's so many times in the course of our journey, we have a tendency to get these lines mixed up. And that's where an unhealthy person comes into play. A person that's unhealthy really has no significant others because they're so caught up in their own stuff. They have circles of friends, but they don't really have friends. They have people they manipulate, they con, play all kinds of games with back and forth. They don't listen to time people. What the heck? They have tons of acquaintances, plenty of enemies, but they mix everything up. See, when I don't have boundaries, then I'm crossing over into everything else. And as a result, my life becomes unmanageable. It becomes crazy. It becomes insane. And many of us, for a long period of time, have lived in that world of insanity and craziness, lived in that world of emptiness and loneliness. Why do you think many of us have gone to addictions, gone to different behaviors to avoid having to look at ourselves on the inside? I mean, I'm talking about myself, of course. I spent 44 years, running away from me, even though I was in 12-step programs, quotation marks, but I really wasn't in. I was going through the rituals and the movements. But the bottom line was I wasn't ready to look inside, to look at my issues, to go on the inside. I mentioned that to you when I talked about the iceberg theory. I was frozen to death on the inside. The outside, I could function. But the bottom line is so many of us have a tendency to be scared to go inside and look at the inside. And that's why, how do we get people from being unhealthy to learning how to become healthy? Now, you got to realize this takes time and it takes an effort. I tell people this all the time. One of the hardest things in being able to let go and move on and make changes in your life is to finally be able to either arrest your addiction or get to a stage in your life where you're hurting pretty badly. Because I don't know, we all got that Italian disease, mucopatosa. I call it the brickhead disease, where basically I got to do it the hard way first. I got to do it my way. My Way is a nice song by Frankie, but the bottom line is, you can't do it your way. And yet we try it. You see, especially codependence. We actually think we can control everything, control everybody, and control the world around us. The more you try to do that, the more you try to be in control of everything, make ourselves crazy. Even a lot of times, what do we try to do? We try to control other people, try to change other people. I want them to be what I want them to be. And if not, they're going to pay. Manipulation, con, all this kind of crazy stuff, which means we don't really know how to have relationships. So what do I have to do? In order for me to do this, I have to come to an awareness or to an awakening. One of those powerful ways of doing that is just to try to get them to be a little bit more open to those time people, to begin to learn some things, to begin to connect a little bit, because one of the things I know, I use an analogy what I'm talking about. See this thing up here. See this thing up here? I know that there's not much there, that's all right. This thing up here, basically, I have nicknames for it. I call it the control tower, manipulation tower, and the con tower. And yet in life, very many times, I'm constantly trying to figure everything out. That's a sure sign of an unhealthy person. We're going to analyze it, figure it out, and get everything straightened out. That's why, as codependents, adult children of alcoholics, we buy about 65,000 self-help books, looking for the magic book that's going to solve everything in my life. The real solution is in here. We got to be able to get there. And so most of our information comes in through our head. But over a period of time, with help, And I got to say this as strongly as I can. You're not going to be able to go through this transition from unhealthy to healthy by yourself. Now, Gabish, not by yourself. You need help, you need support, you need guidance, and you need direction. It takes time. And the most beautiful thing we have to learn is how to let it go, let it happen naturally. God, we all hate that one, I know. I mean, think about it just for a couple of minutes. Let's go back to the founders of AA, Dr. Bob and Bill W. I'm staring at their photograph right here. Dr. Bob and Bill W. Now, two intelligent men, two drunks who could not deal with their addiction. And so basically, for years and years and years, they tried every program. They tried taking the pledge. They tried doing this. They tried doing that. And they got nothing but a big headache and nothing ever worked. So finally, the two of them met each other. And the two of them got together and said, why don't the two of us together try not to drink for one day? They stayed together and they made it through a day. Then after 2 or 3 days, they went back to the psychiatric hospital and got another drunk and brought him into the fold. Now, I don't think they were thinking in their mind, I'm going to start a national movement so everybody can join. No, there were just two people trying to make it and trying to survive. And they got a couple more people, but the thing was, they were building a support system. And it teaches me and teaches the people I'm connected with. We can't do it by ourselves. We need to be connected to others. That's an important part of the piece of this puzzle, which is so important. Doors have to open. And so if I truly am able to open myself up, to listen to kind people, to listen to messages, slowly but surely I'll begin to connect, be around others. There won't have to be a lot of people, but it takes time. But to get to those significant others, to get to people I truly trust, I got to start with the acquaintances and then build senses of friendship. And through circles of friends, slowly but surely, I'll begin to work on setting boundaries. Here's the key to everything we're talking about today. Good, healthy people need to have boundaries. Physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, spiritual boundaries, and social boundaries. Boundaries are so important because my body, I'm the one who is the architect of my body. No one has the right to touch my body, be part of my body, unless I give them permission. That's a boundary. There's a boundary emotionally. I have the right to share my feelings with people I'm comfortable sharing them with. There's a time and a place for doing that. So again, I have to set emotional boundaries, my spiritual boundaries, the development of my personal self, developing a sense of myself as a person. Even the founders of AA understood all this. You know why they understood it? Look at the 12 steps. The first 11 steps are for us just to work on ourselves. Isn't that wonderful? Number 12 says, having done your work, having had a spiritual awakening, having moved forward, then you can carry the message to somebody else. But they're talking about having a message to carry. That's why it's so important in this process of becoming healthy that we do it slowly, we do it gradually, one step at a time, we move forward. Change and growth is not easy. It's part of the foundation of life. It's also the part of being honest and being open. And none of that just happens overnight. I can talk about it in 45 minutes. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a painful process because it involves change. It involves letting go. It involves moving forward. It involves realizing I cannot stay in situations that I'm in. I've got to move away from them. I've got to move forward. Is it easy? No. I don't want it to be easy. I'm finding out more and more when I have to actually deal with something and get in touch with it. Then all of a sudden, I enjoy it. I've earned it. So it's the exact same thing in different areas of your life and things you're doing. You have to be able to open up the door, but slowly let things come in. Will you make mistakes? I hope so. I really do. Because mistakes are part of growth. See, don't look for what I call the codependent crazies. See, a lot of codependents want that quick fix formula. Ain't none. And yet we try to create it. You know, we have to realize that growth, any process of growth, even in recovery, is a little bit at a time. Bien a bien, my father used to say, go slow, take your time, then it will stick with you. We have to learn over the course of our journey and all the things that we do them in the process. There's no quickness to it. It's just a step-by-step thing we have to go through in the course of our journey. That's what's important. And that really is the core and the center of what we're talking about. See, I don't know about you, but I think back in my own life. I got involved in therapy. I'm going back now to 1984 when I got introduced to this therapist. I got his photograph up here on the wall because he died now. Beautiful man. Now, when I went to see him, I told you before, I didn't really want to go see him, but I went to see him. But that man literally helped me to start a transition. All he did was tell me some things, give me some papers to read, told me to come back. I liked the stuff that he showed me, so I went back. I didn't realize I was going to go back for 5 years. I guess I'm a slow learner. What can I tell you? The bottom line was, over the course of the journey, I could see change taking place inside of me a little bit at a time. Now I understand what Richard, my sponsor in my eating disorders program way back in the late 80s, used to say to me all the time. He used to say, Vince, growth is this much. Every day, if you grow that much, you've made progress. That's what's important. I used to fight with him and say, how about that much? He said, no, that much. Take it easy, take your time. It's almost like I'm building a new adventure with myself as a person. I'm getting to know me. I'm getting to love who I am. I'm getting to respect and honor myself as a person. Once I'm able to do these things to me and work on me, then and only then can I share that message of recovery, that message of my positive concept of self, share it with others. See, it's also learning how to do some affirmations, learning how to put yourself in a position where literally, you'll be able to open up new doors for people. See, I've learned over the years that as time goes on, slowly but surely, I'm going to develop in my life very special people, significant others, people I can truly trust, people I can be part of and part of my journey. But they come in God's time, not in our time. They come through the law of attraction. See, I really believe this. I'm going to say it as strongly as I can. If we truly take time, and by the way, to work on ourselves and take care of ourselves. I hate to tell you, this is a full-time job. If we truly take that time and just take it one day at a time, you'll learn something new, you'll grow a little bit. You know, in my own life, my own journey, you know, I work with a therapist. In fact, I had my therapy session yesterday. but I need to have somebody to work with to help me through some of the major areas I have to process in my life, which is really important. And so we learned this after a while. We learned this whole concept of developing the personal self. But we're learning also to realize the fact that we can't do it alone. And so as a result that we can't do it alone, we eventually have to ask for help, ask for guidance, ask for direction. It's all part of it, and it makes a lot of sense. See, the investment in self is the greatest investment on the face of the earth. Because when you invest in yourself, you invest in so many more beautiful things in the course of your life. And I know this sounds kind of strange because I know if my Italian family heard me saying this, they say, boy, you're a selfish brat. It's not being selfish. I learned this in Al-Anon. It's called self-caring, not selfish. So slowly but surely, I'm building this relationship with myself as a person as I begin to set these boundaries I talked about. So I know where people are in my journey. I can detach, where I can spend time with. I can be open to new things and new directions. And that's the exciting part about this whole process, because really, it really opens up a lot of doors. Will there be con artists out there? Yep. Will the world you would live in be dysfunctional? Yep. Dysfunctionality is part of life. Will we on occasion be dysfunctional? Yep. It's amazing, isn't it? As long as we can process, work them through, go to the other side, everything else will fall into place when it's supposed to. That's what's important. And so I try to tell people, try to get out of the way. Let things happen. It's a big part of the process we have to go into question. So tonight, my prayer, I want to bring out tonight. It's not tonight, it's today. Yeah. I'm so used to saying tonight. Anyway, what I want to bring out in my prayer is the importance of guidance, direction, asking for help, the gift of openness, honesty, to be able to move forward and not look back. So many of us are looking back as we're moving forward. Can't do that. Will you have pitfalls along the way? God, I hope we do. We're taught over and over again the values. We have to find out what happened, what worked for us. That's what's important. You know, it was interesting the other day, I was in Philadelphia, and they have this gun collection going on. I think it's if you turn guns in, you get money or something. I forget what it is. But one guy said to me, a police officer, he said, we have all these guns. I don't know what we're going to do with them. We'll probably just end up just melting them together and getting rid of them and do stuff to that direction. And I said, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could take all the people and just melt them together into a sense of family? Because what I'm learning is that real recovery takes place in a family system. All growth takes place in a family system. We are not islands. Thomas Merton said it beautifully. We do not stand alone. We need each other. And we need a sense of community. That's where our growth takes place. Myself included, many of us go out on tangents where we're going to be the saviors of the world. Then we come back and have to deal with ourselves, which is really important. And so what I want to really share today is the importance of that willingness to be open, to change, to grow, to experience things. And the greatest adventure on the face of this earth is investing in yourself and working on yourself. Because truly, if I don't do that, I can't share it with anybody else. It comes down to this. If I truly love myself, I'll be able to love other people. If I truly like myself, I'm comfortable, I'll be comfortable with others. If I truly respect and care for myself, I'll do the same for others around me. That's what's important. And so I have to learn that concept of spirituality, that concept of growth. And if I do that, everything else will fall into place. And so really, I hope and pray that all of us can go on this journey of this self-discovery, this journey of self-love, this journey of experiencing who we are in the course of our journey. Let us pray. God, we come before you as a family. We come before you in prayer. We ask for your guidance and your direction. Please send messengers into our life. Help us to be open to the messengers, to listen to the messages, to be open to new things and new directions. Teach us deep down inside the value of prayer, the value to ask for help and guidance and direction, and you will send it to us. Teach us to be open. Teach us the gift of growth. For those who basically are struggling, we ask you to bless them and guide them. For those who have passed on, we ask your forgiveness and your love. And just know, each and every day of our life, we are connected to you. For you are a gift God has given to us. We pray and we ask this in God's name. Amen. And now I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm muting